Because you didn't send me one.
Okay,
We
you
are
have to hit
So
recording.
I'm
continue.
sure some of this, the background will pop up through your talk. All right.
All right, let me bore you. The title was changed. It has been changed to What It Was Like Growing Up in Georgia and Being on a Path That Led Me to Become Georgia Brown. On April 24, 1943, I was born to two children. My mom was 16 and my father was 18. They had eloped the year before. My mom said that the first month of my life, I labored with breathing problems from bronchitis. Thanks to her holistic medicine, I survived that crisis. But she said it was not to be the last of early challenges to my survival. It turns out that she and my dad were prone to altercations, with my being a victim to those events. I was often knocked to the floor from a bed that was 4 feet from the floor. No harm was done because I always landed on my head. Perhaps that was the beginning of my great survival skills. My mother did not complete the 7th grade, and my dad did not complete the 8th grade. So job opportunities were slim to none. My dad would do seasonal jobs for the first 8 years of my life. My mother occasionally did housework for some of the affluent white people in our small town. As I said before, my mom did not complete the 7th grade. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that she was the smartest person that I have ever met. She will always be my hero.
141%, a 13.
She did not have a traditional education, but she retained vast knowledge of holistic remedies learned through the oral traditions of her community. People in both races would come from miles around to benefit from her holistic skills. My mother taught me to read. My mother taught me the alphabet before I was 5. She said from that point on, I loved to read, I loved to sing, and especially I loved to talk. She said that I was always, she said that I was strong-willed. I am the oldest of 7 children, 4 girls and 3 boys. I cannot bring to memory where we lived before I was 5. After we were 5, we lived in a 4-room house, a kitchen, a living room, and 2 bedrooms. The roofs were made of tin, and I loved the sound of the rain hitting the tin roofs. Until the age of 9, we did not have electricity, so I had to read and digest what I read by lamplight. My first school was 2.5 miles away from our house. We had to walk. Everybody has told that story That, oh, when I was your age, I walked to school. You know, we have all told that story. It was a one-room school next door to the Long Street Baptist Church. The classes were to children from 6 years old to 18 and even older. The students were taught by one teacher. Her name was Miss Bessie Sheldon. I loved my teacher. I loved school. By the time I was 7, the Black people in our town were seeing the value of an education. So they were sending their children to school, except when it was time to pick cotton, which most had to do in order to help their families' finances. They also had to prepare and gather their own crops to sustain their families. With the population increasing and more children attending school, we moved into a 5-room school. When I was in the 5th grade, we moved to a brand new school building, which was for the 1st through 12th grade. For the first time, we had a school with a name. It was named Lucy Laney, and we had a school anthem. Our school was as nice as the white school, but the white school hated us because we had a new school. Circa 1952, a company called the Southern Natural Gas began building a plant about 10 miles from our house. My dad was hired. That was his first and last job that provided a steady income. He retired from that plant about 40 years later. The construction of the plant was completed about 1954, and all the Black men were laid off except my dad. He became the janitor of the plant. It was a job with a steady pay and eventually some hospitalization. My last 2 siblings were born in a hospital. One might think that getting that job was a blessing indeed. Well, it was, and it wasn't. Because the Black friends and peers resented my dad because he had gotten that position. And the white men who did not get the position also were angered by his good fortune. The foreman and other employees would refer to my dad as boy. And another word that I failed to mention, but it begins with the letter N. Dad would come home on weekends intoxicated, and he would vent his humiliation and frustration. Then he and my mother would fight. I have given you a few details of the beginning of my life. Not for your sympathy, but to enable you to see how that beginning gave birth to my survival skills. As I said earlier, I love to read and sing. In school, I always got A's and a few B's, all A's until I reached the 8th grade. When we were introduced to algebra, it still doesn't make sense to me how A plus B minus 4C equals 13. Still doesn't make sense. In the 8th grade, when the teachers had to have a meeting with the principal, I was selected to teach for a couple of hours. Remember that I mentioned that the Black student population had been growing? 2 years before I reached the 9th grade, they built a high school in Hamilton, Georgia, which was 9 miles from my home. We then had to take a school bus. Yay! The high school was populated by students from 5 surrounding towns. The grades were 9 through 12. It was my first year of high school that I was paid as a teacher because I was sent to teach the 4th graders, the 5th graders, and 6th graders when some of the teachers were absent. So I bet you want to know how that happened. Well, here is how it happened. Circa my second semester at the high school, my principal, the Reverend Sigismund A. Lang, that's how he used to say his name, Sigismund A. Lang. He was from Jamaica. He decided to give us all an aptitude test. The 9th graders, the 10th graders, the 12th graders, the 11th graders and 12th graders, we all had the same aptitude test. I scored higher than all the students in grade 9 through 12. He and my teachers were so proud of me that they were gracious and shared many of their books with me. It was also when Reverend Lang decided that when regular teachers were absent, I could fill in for them. Well, I still have a master of algebra, geometry, and physics. Well, see, there's one good thing, one good use for technology. While in school, I read a lot of literature, geography, philosophy, history, and civics. It was always exciting to read about how America was started. Most importantly, how the idea of America was disseminated at home and abroad. I realized early that America was not what it aspired to be, but there were many people who were working towards that goal. In school, we were very patriotic. We pledged allegiance each morning, recite a Bible verse, and then sang one of 3 songs: America the Beautiful, God Bless America, or My Country 'Tis of Thee. I love school, but I never got perfect attendance because my mother had poor health. As the oldest child, I had responsibilities too early. I dropped out of college because my mother needed a life-saving operation. In the interim, I lost my financial aid. So that was the end of that. Over the years, I returned to college in an attempt to complete my degree, but life intervened. I beat myself up for years because I did not finish college. I graduated from high school as the valedictorian. My valedictory speech ended with these words: and why can't I build a new world? My goal was to become a lawyer and then a United States senator. And then I would fight for human rights. I was going to be somebody. I'm in the process of writing my life story for my grandchildren. Much of that information is not needed for today's speech. However, these two final details might explain how I am who I am. I worked at the Montclair Post Office for 30 years and retired in 1999. In that job capacity, I did community service project. In that job capacity, I met several members of the Montclair Rotary Club, and one of them was the late Julie Anna Belzac. She was aware of my community service. She told the Montclair Rotary Club about it, and they invited me to become a member. They accepted me as a member. Becoming a Rotarian is one of the most cherished accomplishments in my life. Through Rotary, I have gotten to fulfill my dreams. Through Rotary, we have almost eradicated polio. There are a few cases left in Afghanistan and Pakistan. Through Rotary, we have built hospitals in Africa, Central and South America. Through Rotary's gift of life, we have performed surgery, heart surgery on many children. Through Rotary, we have performed surgery on children with cleft lips, cleft palates, and other facial deformities. Through Rotary, we have fed thousands of people who were food insecure. Through Rotary, we have participated in many educational projects, including my favorite, the Dictionary Project. Through Rotary, we have helped veterans with several programs. There are so many, many more wonderful things that Rotary have done. I invite you to go online to find out more. Life for me ain't been no crystal stairs. I have many disappointments and a few regrets, but still I rise. For 22 years, Rotary has sustained me until May 2020 and January 6, 2021. since May 20, I have cried every day, sometimes from physical pain and sometimes from emotional pain. And they're certainly contributing to my depression. Okay, my friends, I brought you on this journey to explain to you why, after 77 years, I no longer believe in the idea of America. I am now the Georgia Brown who does not believe what is written of the Statue of Liberty. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. I no longer believe in Ronald Reagan's quote, America is and always be a shining city on the hill. I think America now is just a flashlight shining on a molehill. I no longer believe in the 14th article, the 14th Amendment, the 19th Amendment, the 26th Amendment, because so many states are changing our voting rights. I now believe that Dr. King's dream was a nightmare. Today is Tuesday. Mandela says, the future depends on what you do today. You create your destiny. You be mindful of your action. Today is Tuesday, and we're voting. If I could believe in America again, I would vote for a candidate who believes in the four-way test. I would vote for a candidate who believes in the truth. I would vote for a candidate who would believe in who would be fair to all concerned. I would believe in the candidate who would be goodwill, believe in goodwill and better friendship. I would believe in a candidate who would do things that was beneficial to all concerned. I love America. For 77 years, I've tried to be a good citizen. I've tried to do good things. And through Rotary, I've helped to change the world for better. I love America, but America, you don't love me. I can't make you love me if you don't. I can't make your heart feel something it won't. Dr. King said he dreamed of the day when America would judge us not by the color of our skin, but the contents of our character. I want to show you something funny. Well, not funny, funny. Can you see this?
Hold it higher, higher, higher. Tilt it a little. Okay.
There's a reflection on it, so we can't see it.
Tilt it a little more, higher, higher. Yeah,
Can you see it now?
yeah, wait,
Kind of.
towards your face a little more.
Okay.
Okay. Back towards the camera.
Okay.
Push it towards the camera. Okay.
Can you see it now?
To your right, to your right.
There you go.
What is it, Georgia?
Beg your pardon?
It's somebody, who is it?
That, ladies and gentlemen, is my mother's mother.
Oh.
That's my grandmother. Her blood is rushing through my veins. You see the color of her skin?
Tilt
You
it.
see the color of my skin? I wonder if things would have been different if I had the color of her skin.
Yeah.
What was her name?
Her name was Lucia Foster Mahone. Of course, my being a ham all my life, I called her Lucia.
Where was she born? Where was she from?
In Charleston, Georgia. Charleston, Georgia.
Are you ready for questions now, Georgia? Do you have more?
Yeah, I have questions. I'm ready.
Okay. That was wonderful. It's really appreciate you giving us that insight into your life, and so much of your own experience. It was wonderful. I really appreciate it.
How did that woman come to be your grandmother?
Beg your pardon?
How did she come to be your grandmother?
Well, she was my mom's mother, and she married a man from, I don't know that ancestry yet. I have to dig up his ancestry. But my grandmother is part Caucasian and part Cherokee. I'm still working on our ancestry. She has several brothers and several sisters. 3 of her brothers left Georgia, came to New York City. We never heard from them again. I'm pretty sure they changed their name because they stopped being they stopped being my people. They became other people.
What you were talking about the emotions that you feel, just as a comment, about the country is very timely, because there's great debates now about how to teach the history of this country. The history of this country has been taught as mythology. And when you begin to realize, either through your own personal or other experiences, that the statue has clay feet, it's very emotional. My feeling is, and this is just my opinion, that if we taught the flawed history of this country like every other country that ever existed, I think people would probably have a more realistic take on how to deal with the problems that we have. But when you realize that the myths that you've been taught are either false or embellished, it can be very emotional. And I saw that in your face.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Georgia. Very, very powerful. We love you.
Thank you. I know that. I know that I am loved by my fellow Rotarians. That's why I'm so happy with Rotary. I mean, my girls get tired of me talking about Rotary because they know that my granddaughters, well, my grandchildren, Rotary, and somewhere behind there are they. So they're envious of Rotary. Yeah. It was
Well, Rotary is certainly very proud of you. And Rotary also has a storied background that is rift with moments of not the best things that were done. Probably still survives because they did more good things than hide the bad things that they did. Uh, but thank you for taking Rotary as your guide and showing the rest of us, validating Rotary for the rest of us. It's certainly uh, to our benefit to have you as a friend. And thank you.
well. I hope I didn't embarrass you nor offend you, but um, Ecclesiastic says there's a time for everything, and I have been bursting with pain, and I love you, and I trust you, and I know that you understand my pain, because you have come to my rescue so many times. Um, John and Cindy Dearmount, when my house burned, oh, their generosity was astounding. Um, the rest of you, when my house burned, you were so generous. I'm still wearing some of the clothes Linda gave me. Uh, so I know you guys love me. You're like family. And I know that I could talk to you. And I know that I needed to talk to you.
Hey, Georgia, we love you.
Thank you.
And don't give up on your dreams.
May I say something?
Yes.
Well, Georgia, thank you so much for writing this down and sharing your story with us. And I'm so grateful to the Rotary for recording it because this is very important American history, and I'm grateful for it. And it's important, and thank you very much. Your story is beautiful, and just think of all the good you've done. I mean, you think maybe that, you can say that Rotary took you by your hand and guided you, but you took, Rotary, you guided Rotary with your heart. So, they've taken you by your heart and you've given your heart, and just look at all the good you've done. And one thing you didn't mention, which I'll be eternal grateful and I'll never forget, is the Martin Luther King Freedom Mural.
Yes.
Being preserved by the public library. And just think of how beautiful that was for Dr. Miller, who just recently passed.
Yeah, recently passed. Yeah.
So, I thank you all, and I thank you, Georgia, for all the good you do and for sharing your story. And this is very important. And I'm just so proud of you, and I'm so glad that it's been documented. So,
Georgia, is it okay to share this recording?
Yes. Hey guys, I got a joke for you. Well, it's funny to me. It might not be funny to you. In 2000 to 2001, I was president of our club. 9/11 happened. 2020 to 2021, I'm president. COVID-19 George Floyd, January 6th. I swear to you guys, I won't be president again.
You'll always be president.
Frank, get in touch with me about how to share this recording, okay?
Okay.
Thank you very much. What I would like to do is, and I will invite you all, I'd like to share it with the, the archives of the New Jersey Historical Society, and I'll transcribe it into writing. And I'll be in touch with you about that. And also, I'd like to share it with the organization that I'm a historian with and I'm a part of, called the Afro-American History and Genealogical Society. And what it does is it collects narrative and history. We're connected with the Smithsonian Museum in Washington, the African American Museum. And so I'll let you all know more about that, but I'm so grateful that we have
Great.
the recording.
Thank you.
I'm grateful to everybody who attended my crying spasm. And I'm more than grateful for your love. It helps me get through my days.
Well, we thank you. It was a compelling oral history of your life.
Beg your pardon?
It is a compelling oral history of your life and part of America that I'm certainly many steps away from. So thank you very much for saying it.
Thank you, Bob.
Your story.
Well, what time is it? It's 1:15.
It's Rotary time.
Thank you, everybody. I'm going to,
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, Frank.
Hey, Frank,
thank you. That was
Thank you.
really,
Thank you. God bless you.
bless you, George.
Thank you.
Okay, much love. Thank you.